Fiber classification. There are two classifications for nerve fiber. One is Erlanger and Gasser, second is Lloyd and Hunt. We'll start with Erlanger and Gasser classification. These scientists classified the nerve fiber on the basis of myelination, which is the covering around axon, and conduction velocity, and they considered all types of nerve fiber, that is sensory, motor and autonomic. So they divided the nerve fiber in three types: A, B and C type. A type has four subtypes: A alpha, A beta, A gamma and A delta. Then we have B, then we have C. As we go from up to down, myelination decreases. That means A alpha is the thickest of all and C is unmyelinated. So as we go from up to down, myelination is decreasing. A alpha is the most thickest nerve fiber and C is unmyelinated. And as we know, myelination is responsible for fast conduction speed. So as we go from up to down, because myelination is decreasing, hence the conduction velocity of nerve fiber will also decrease. So A alpha will have the highest conduction velocity and C will have the least among all. Let's get started for A alpha. A alpha has fiber diameter in micrometer of 20 to 12 to 20. Its conduction velocity is 70 to 120 meter per second. A alpha's function is both sensory and motor. It is responsible for proprioception and somatic motor. Then we have A beta. Its fiber diameter is in micrometer 5 to 12. Its conduction velocity is 30 to 70 meter per second. Its function is purely sensory. That means it will be sensing vibration. Proprioception from muscle spindle, it will be sensing just proprioception from muscle spindle. That means they will be sensing the length of muscle fiber. And in A alpha, proprioception will be for both muscle spindle and Golgi tendon organ. Golgi tendon organ sense the tension in muscle and muscle spindle sense the length in muscle. A gamma, its fiber diameter is 3 to 6 micrometer. Its conduction velocity is 15 to 30 meter per second and it is purely motor. It gives motor signal to muscle spindle. Muscle spindle, it is again for length of muscle fiber. Then we have A delta. Its fiber diameter is 2 to 5 micrometer and its conduction velocity is 12 to 30. And A delta is purely sensory. It is sensory to fast pain and cold temperature. What is fast pain? For example, as we pinch ourselves with a pin, then I'll be getting a fast pain. This is fast pain. And what is slow pain? Like we have abdominal cramps, we have cramps in our legs, so that will come in slow pain. Then we have B fiber types. Its fiber diameter is less than 3 micrometer. Its conduction velocity is 3 to 15 meter per second. It is preganglionic autonomic nerve fiber. Then we have C. C has two innervation, dorsal root and sympathetic. Its dorsal root fiber diameter is 0.4 to 1.2 micrometer. Its conduction velocity is 0.5 to 2 meter per second. Its function is pain, touch, temperature. It conducts impulses generated by cutaneous receptor. Then we have sympathetic. Its fiber diameter is 0.3 to 1.3 micrometer. Its conduction velocity is 0.7 to 2.3 meter per second and it is a postganglionic sympathetic nerve fiber. Now let's discuss about the Lloyd and Hunt classification. As I said previously, Erlanger and Gasser, they include all the nerve fiber. They include sensory, motor and autonomic nerve fiber. But Lloyd and Hunt, they only included classification for sensory type of nerve fiber. So here we'll be doing a comparison. For Erlanger and Gasser, we discussed A, B and C. We discussed previously that in A alpha we have sensory, in A beta it is pure sensory and A delta is also pure sensory. So in A alpha we'll be having innervation, we'll be having somatic motor and proprioception. Proprioception, we have innervation for muscle spindle and Golgi tendon organ. As we discussed, muscle spindle is responsible for sensing the length of muscle, and Golgi tendon organ are responsible for sensing tension in the muscle. So we'll be naming them 1A and 1B in Lloyd and Hunt classification. So A alpha is the first in Lloyd and Hunt classification, and 1A will be where the innervation is for muscle spindle, and 1B when the innervation is for Golgi tendon organ. Then A beta, which was pure sensory, it carries senses for touch and pressure. So beta will be second in the Lloyd and Hunt classification. Gamma is motor, so it will not get included in Lloyd and Hunt. Delta is sensory, it is having it carries senses for pain, cold, temperature and touch. We'll be naming it 3 in Lloyd and Hunt classification. Then C has a dorsal root and sympathetic. Dorsal root carries senses for pain, hot temperature and reflex. It is pure sensory, so we'll be giving it name 4 in Lloyd and Hunt classification. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much.